Long ago, on a hill overgrown with ancient oaks, there stood a castle that no one had lived in for years. The wind whistled through the cracks in its old walls, moss crept over the stones, and only the moon would sometimes peek inside, as if checking that everything was still the same. The people from nearby villages avoided the castle. They said a devil lived there, not an evil one, but a strange one, and that he was waiting for something no one understood. The devil's name was Mordish. He wasn't big or terrifying. He had soft black fur, horns curled like little spirals, and eyes that shone more with curiosity than with fire. And most of all, he had a kind heart. But how could anyone know that, when they were afraid of even hearing his name? Mordish lived in the castle all alone. Every morning he swept the courtyard so he wouldn't feel so useless, and every evening he sat on the battlements, listening to the sounds of the forest. Sometimes he sighed so deeply that dust lifted from the stones. He longed for just one thing, for someone not to be afraid of him. One autumn day, a little girl appeared beneath the castle hill. Her name was Lucy, and she was collecting acorns in the forest. When she wandered all the way to the gate, she looked up at the towers and said to herself, "What a beautiful castle! It's a shame it's so empty." And because she was curious by nature, she stepped inside. Mordish was sitting on a throne he'd repaired from broken planks, reading an old chronicle. When he heard footsteps, he jumped so quickly that one spiral of his horn flopped down onto his forehead. Lucy saw him and startled, but she didn't run away. Instead, she looked at him for a long moment. "Are you a devil?" she asked calmly. Mordish nodded and waited for her to scream, but Lucy only said, "You look sad." That completely disarmed him. No one had ever asked how he felt before. So they sat down on the stone well in the middle of the courtyard, and Mordish told her how lonely he was, how he wished for a friend, and how much he missed the sound of laughter. Lucy listened and then said, "Then I'll be your friend, but you have to promise not to scare people." Mordish thought for a moment. "I don't actually scare anyone. They're afraid of me all by themselves." "Then we'll show them they don't have to be," Lucy suggested. And so a great friendship began, and together they set about transforming the castle. Mordish and Lucy repaired the gate, cleaned the well, hung colourful flags from the towers, and planted flowers in the courtyard. When the villagers saw the abandoned castle turning into a place full of light, curiosity overcame fear. One day they climbed the hill, at first cautiously, but when they saw Lucy laughing beside the devil, who was busy watering flowers, their fear melted away like morning mist. Mordish learned to bake pies, a little burnt, but made with heart. The villagers brought him apples, flour, and sometimes even new boots, because his old ones kept burning from the hot embers that occasionally slipped from his pockets. And the castle was never abandoned again. When evening fell, Lucy would sit with Mordish on the battlements. "You see," she would say, "all it took was for someone to truly know you." Mordish smiled, and his eyes shone like two lanterns. And ever since then, people say that in the old castle lives a devil with the biggest heart far and wide. And whoever dares to climb all the way up will be offered a pie by Mordish, slightly burnt, but the best in the world. If you enjoyed this fairy tale, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss another beautiful story. Have a lovely day.